Welcome to this episode of Resetting Your Compass. Just 2 weeks to go now until we set off for John of Groats. We're setting off on the 13th, as I mentioned. Overnight sleeper up to Inverness, and then Inverness up to John of Groats, staying over at the campsite on the 14th. So in this episode, what are we going to be doing? I'm going to be doing a lot about logistics, or getting the food sorted out. You name it. It's going to be a very busy few days. Well, we're looking at nutrition today. We've been to Aldi, we bought all the things we're going to have on the long tread. So on the left there, we've got porridge, dried cranberries and chocolate. They'll be mixed in with water in the morning. So we'd use half the chocolate. The quantities here, by the way, aren't set out yet, but that's what we're having for breakfast. For the main meal and the evening meal, we've got red Leicester, we've got some Parmesan cheese, we've got some noodles, and chorizo. That'll make up my sort of meal during the day and my evening meal as well. To help me along the way, we've got dried mango and dry roasted peanuts as well, and then we've got the milk, a pint in the morning and a pint in the evening. I've worked all this out, by the way, folks, for around 4,000 calories a day. This will be split down. This is obviously more than I need just purely for one day. But in there, you'll have a certain amount of protein, certain amount of carbohydrates, certain amount of fat, and obviously the calories required. It's all been worked out pretty scientifically, and I'll show you the spreadsheet on this just to show how it's going to be. But this is the food I'll be taking on the long tread. So now we've packaged up all the food into one day's food. So what you see in front of you is around 4,000 calories a day, ballpark figure, which I think is what I'm going to need. So I've got about 4,000 calories a day, and that's broken down into about 360 carbs, 120 protein and 240 fat, and that is exactly what I need. My body's going to need on a daily basis. So at the start of the day, we have the milk, a pint of milk. We've got porridge oats, which is 70 grams. We've got dried cranberries, 25 grams of those, and 100 grams of chocolate and hazelnut bar, dark chocolate that is. That works out at somewhere in the region of around 1,300 calories. Now during the day, things change a little bit because we've got the noodles, which I'll make up the night before. We've got 70 grams of those. We've got 40 grams of red Leicester. We've got Parmesan cheese, which is 45 grams. And we've got chorizo, which is 45 grams. On top of that, I've got my 45 grams of dry roasted peanuts. And we've got some 35 grams of dried mango. That's for the day when I'm moving around. So that's quite a lot of calories there. And then for the evening, it's going to be the same as during the day to make life easy for cooking. We've got 70 grams of egg noodles, 45 grams of red Leicester. We've got the Parmesan cheese coming at 45 grams and chorizo at 50 grams, slightly more. And then in the evening, for a snack, I've got another 100 grams of chocolate bar on there. That's the dark chocolate and hazelnut, and another pint of milk. And as I say, all that adds up to 3,900 calories, give or take. That's 331 protein, 331 carbohydrates, 153 protein and 242 fat. So it all works out really, really well, and that's exactly what body will need. That comes in, ignoring the milk, less than a kilogram for all those calories. Obviously the milk I'm going to be buying on the way from the shop, relatively local to the campsite, so that's only going to be carried right at the end of each day, which is really good news. Whereas all the other stuff, I'm working out how many days I'm going to carry at any one point, but I think it's probably going to be 5, maybe 6. I've done this today to now pack my rucksack, put this in there as well, and see how much space I've got. So we'll have a look at that shortly. But yeah, that's exactly what we're at, and that's how you work out your nutrition as to what you need. Now I need to just multiply this up 42 times for where I'm going. So folks, we're out and about with a tyre today, as you can see behind me there. Looks really good. We're actually around the back there, so we'll turn around the front again. We're up in Highley. We're just testing all the kit today, so checking out, for example, the silver bit on the back of the rucksack there to keep it dry when it's raining, because it is a bit inclement today. And also we're going to be camping out tonight, checking the stove, making sure all the food that I've organised, the one day food, I'm going to be cooking that tonight as well, and tomorrow, and sleeping over tonight, tomorrow morning, and checking that as well. The reason for tonight is because we're actually chucking it down, need to make sure the tent that we've got, the new tent, is absolutely secure. Also got to say, these new trainers we've got, these Ivo8s from Ellis Brigham, they are brilliant. They've got so much tread on them, they're making walking so much easier than it was previously. I was using a couple of old pair of trainers before. and they were slipping all over the place, but really, really good. So that's where we're up to be honest with you. Pretty good. I'll update you shortly later on to see how this tent went anyway. Well, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. It was when I was driving to golf yesterday. I went to golf for the last time before I actually go to John O'Groats. I haven't got any time between now and then to do another round of golf, so that was the last one before I go. However, emotionally, it was really interesting because my brain started to tick into the bit where, oh, hello, this is really real now and there's very little time to go. But also, no one has ever done this. No one has dragged a tyre from John O'Groats to Land's End. And as my mind went, is it possible? Of course it's possible. I know it's possible. I know I can do this. But this is where your mind starts to play a few tricks with you and starts to question what it is you're doing. That normally happens before most of my expeditions, to be honest with you. It starts to kick in a little bit. And it's just started yesterday where my brain started questioning, what am I doing? Can I do this? I know I can, by the way. It's just a case of explaining the more of the mental side to you as well. It's not just a physical side, this. Your brain starts to play tricks with you and it starts to question whether you can actually do it. I'm no different than anyone else. The difference, I suppose, is that I will push through this and make sure I do it and tell my brain I can do it. But I want to bring you up to speed with that because, as I say, the emotional side I don't really speak about very much, but I'm going to try in the videos to explain a little bit more about the emotional side I'm going through as well. Hope that is useful. So, folks, we got the first day where we're just testing all the kit. We've got the tent up, as you can see. And we've got on the stove there, we've got some chorizo, some noodles, this little stove there, connected to the gas, really, really good. It's really, really phenomenally good, actually. Cup of tea already sorted, and 2 mats in there. You've got the yellow one and the grey one. Got the kit at the back there, trays at the side, a little bit of drink there. And to be honest with you, that is it. Just testing the kit out, see if it works. And to be honest with you, first impressions are it's working really well. But let's see what happens tonight when it gets a little bit more wet. So we've had the first evening of cooking in the tent, etc., everything else, and now we're just about to go to sleep. It is raining outside, as you can hear. Tent's pretty dry, which is good news. So that's a big plus. It's warm. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. It's quite cosy now, to be honest with you. Let's see how this goes and see if I wake up about 4 o'clock when it really gets drenched or rain. But let's see how this goes in the morning. But all so far, so good. You've got to test your kit before you go any expedition. Well, good morning, folks. We're up. It's about 7:30. Tent's been quite good, I've got to be honest. It didn't let any water in last night. There is a bit of condensation on the right hand side. Just get a bit more airflow next time. Made ourselves a cup of tea. The stove there. It's outside. It's really nice. There's the tyre. And yeah, to be honest with you, not too bad at all, I'll be honest with you. The tent has held up well. Everything's held up well, and everything's worked very well. So I would say that's about a 90% out of 100. Just purely because it's a bit damp inside, and that's my own fault for not getting enough ventilation. But other than that, good to go. So I'm going to get some porridge on the go and let's get packed up. Morning porridge, it's absolutely lovely. It's basically oats, dried cranberries, and then several bits of dark chocolate melted inside. It's absolutely gorgeous, I've got to be honest. It's highly calorific and great for the carbs and the proteins and stuff. Absolutely awesome. 2 weeks to go now then. So what we're going to start doing is doing a video every 2 or 3 days now until we set off on the 13th. So thank you very much for watching. I hope the nutrition was very interesting and the testing of the kit. It's all critical stuff whenever you go on an expedition. You've got to test what you're going to be using. You've got to make sure everything's right or as best you can. My logic for an expedition is if you can get the basics right, the logic's right, your fitness right, if the weather goes wrong, there's nothing you can do about it. If something else goes wrong, there's nothing you can do. So get things right, you can get right. And next week, as I say, these next few weeks will be very, very busy getting everything organised. I'll bring it to speed with all that as we do it. And thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying it, don't forget to sub and pass it on to your friends as well. Catch you soon.